We all know that we're getting more large piece count sets nowadays than ever before. So in today's video, we're going to have a look at how much has it actually increased. Is it a good or bad thing that we're getting all these big sets? Why are we now getting all these big sets, and what effect is it having on your collecting? G'day friends, Down to Bricks here, and welcome to this week's video, a discussion video, and I'd love for you to be part of the discussion in the comments below. And if you like what you're seeing, give the video a thumbs up, I'd appreciate that. So, I came out of my dark ages in 2010, really got into it by 2012. I was, full strap into being an AFOL. And back then I used to think a big set was 1,000 pieces. And when I came to put this video together and some of these graphs together, I started to think, well, that's not going to cut it. So I thought 1,500 pieces, and I thought, that's not going to cut it either. So for any set that I talk about today, it has to exceed 2,000 pieces. Now that is a big set, 2,000 pieces. So just to give you an idea of how many large sets that we're getting now, just in the last 3 months alone, let me get my list here, we have had the Technic Airbus helicopter, the 90th anniversary castle, the Hogwarts Express, Sanctum Sanctorum, the Atari, the Lighthouse, the Razor Crest, the Black Panther bust, the Mighty Powser, and the table football. That's just in the last 3 months. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? So let's have a look at some numbers year on year. But before we do, any dollars that I talk about in today's video will be Aussie dollars, because it's what I know. And there are some sets that I didn't include in these lists. So any of the mosaic art sets, I didn't include any of those. And if I had of, these graphs were really skewed up. But I don't think it's fair including 4,000 piece sets with that's full of studs compared to a 4,000 brick base set. So I just don't think that was fair. So I took those out. I didn't include any of the Bricklink designer sets as well, so they're not included. And I didn't include any of the brick box sets as well, the classic brick boxes, so none of those. So just to give you an idea moving forward, none of that is included. Okay, so the first graph that we have here, now this is the number of sets released over 2,000 pieces year on year for the last 5 years. So it's not a huge skew really when you look at this graph, but when you take a closer look, in 2018 we had less than 10 sets at over 2,000 pieces, and if you look now in just 5 years we're double that amount of sets over 2,000 pieces just in 5 years. It's pretty incredible. But where you start seeing some really big increases if you take it back 10 years. So this graph here is the same, over 2,000 pieces, any sets released over 2,000 pieces for the last 10 years. So you can see now we're really starting to ramp it up. And again, you can look at it in blocks of 5 years. So I mean, from 2012 to 2017, we're still no more than 10 to, from the last 5 years, getting up to over 20 sets over 2,000 pieces the last couple of years. So yeah, some really big increases there. Now this next graph is really going to show a massive skew here, where we're going to look at sets over 3,000 pieces over the last 10 years. So let's have a look at this. So from 2012 to 2015, not much activity there, was there? We had one in 2014. I believe that was the UCS Sandcrawler. But then at 2015 to 2016, it just jumps straight up. So from then on, we're getting 5 or more large sets over 3,000 pieces. To in the last couple of years, we're almost hitting 10 big sets over 3,000 pieces. It's a hell of a lot, isn't it? So, you know, the first question I asked to start a video, how much has it increased? A bloody lot. There's no doubt about it. So then we have to ask why. Why are we now getting all of these big sets? And I know when I first came into the AFOL scene, there was a lot of talk back then, like 10 odd years ago, that the AFOLs made up about 5% of Lego sales. We're purchasing about 5% of the Lego sets released. So I think that number actually came from Lego somewhere, but I remember that was a pretty big discussion that we're all having, you know, 10 years ago. So now, I know I mentioned that in a previous video. I had a lot of people sort of comment on that, thinking that it's probably more like 25% now. And I have to think, I don't think it's too far wrong. And is it possibly even higher? I mean, this just goes to show that Lego is targeting AFOLs with these big sets. I mean, they're not trying to hide it anymore, are they? It's just blatant. Here's a huge set. Here's these awesome themes that we're doing now, and it's all aimed at AFOLs. So it's definitely a big target for Lego. So that is why we're getting these big sets. So then it makes me ask, is it a good or bad thing to be getting all these big sets? I thought a good thing here is just to have a look at my own collecting and how that affects me, whether it's good or bad. So let's just a quick list through. Like I said, the last 3 months we had the Airbus helicopter, the castle, Hogwarts Express, Sanctum Sanctorum, the Atari, the Lighthouse, the Razor Crest, Black Panther bus, the Mighty Bowser, and the table football. So out of those 10 sets, there's 10 sets there, over 2,000 pieces. What sets am I interested in? So, not interested in the Technic Airbus helicopter, the castle, yes. Hogwarts Express, love my trains, yes. The Sanctum Sanctorum, yes. Marvel fan, love that. The Atari, not so much. The Lighthouse, loving the look of the Lighthouse, there's another one. The Razor Crest, definitely. Black Panther bus, not so much. The Mighty Bowser, no. And the table football, no, not that one either. So 5 out of the 10 sets I'm interested in. Now those 5 sets in 3 months, how much do they come to? $3,150. Oh, it is so painful being an AFOL. $3,150 for 5 sets that I'm interested in. So, yeah, so I have to look at, I can't do that. I can't possibly do that. We have to whittle it down. So then we'll have a look. Okay, the 90th anniversary castle. That's a definite. I've already got it. The Hogwarts Express. Like I said, I love my trains. Not a Harry Potter fan, so I'm going to scrap that one out of there. The Sanctum Sanctorum. Massive Marvel fan. Was a huge MCU fan. Not so much anymore. So that gloss is starting to wane for me. And yeah, I'm not really enjoying the Marvel universe as it is at the moment. So yeah, so that takes a little bit of gloss off that set, as awesome as it is. So that's probably not. The Lighthouse, love the look of the Lighthouse. Doesn't really fit into my collection. Not that it has to. I mean, if a set really grabs me, I mean, I'm going to get it. But yeah, I love the look of that Lighthouse. It's so unique, but it doesn't really fit in with the collection. So that gives me an excuse to take it off the wanted list. The Razor Crest, definitely want to get the Razor Crest. So that's taken me 5 down to 2. That's $1,500 in the last 3 months. $1,500. I just can't afford to sustain that sort of hobby. It's just getting ridiculous. So is it good or bad? Well, it's great to have the selection. It's great to see all these big sets, but it's bad if you're die-hard AFOL and you want to collect as much as you can. So yeah, yeah, that's a toss of the coin, that one, is it? Depends what angle you're coming from. But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think it's a good thing, because if it makes you start looking at collecting, you know, it's really starting to make me hate being an AFOL, to be honest, because I'm just looking now and thinking, how can I afford this moving forward? And, you know, look, I've still collected a lot of the smaller sets, the Star Wars sets this year. I've got the Jurassic World sets. I've got a lot of big sets as well. And I funded a lot of that this year by selling a lot of my older sets I'd collected up, like investment sets. I sold some of that stuff off just to stay afloat this year. But I can't do that year on year. So, yeah, honestly, I can't say that it's a good thing moving forward, because if it starts making people not enjoying collecting Lego and not wanting to be part of it anymore, that can't be a good thing. Now, we may look at that and say, okay, so let's start saying that's going to start driving people out of the hobby. So one person leaves, are 10 people coming in? It's really hard to say, isn't it? I mean, Lego is moving forward leaps and bounds. You know, when you read how well Lego are doing, that they're doing extremely well. So there's obviously more people coming in that are leaving. But how long will that continue for? If you're a new person coming in, you're buying all this Lego, and then you'll start to think, holy dooly, there's just too much. I can't afford everything. And then those people leave. You know, where's it lead? Where does it end up? So are we going to see a dive in Lego's profits moving forward? It's very interesting, isn't it? So what effect is it going to have on my collecting? Well, to be honest, I don't really know at this stage, because I feel the same as I always have. I love Lego. I love collecting. I love building. I love being part of this community. I just love everything about it. So it's a really hard question for me to answer, but I just know that I cannot continue in the same path I have before. It's just an impossibility to try and collect all of the small sets and then all of these big sets they're releasing. It's just too difficult. It's too expensive, and I just can't continue to do it. What changes will I be making? Well, obviously I'm just going to have to cut right back. I'm not really going to know, I think, until probably next year. Like I said, I sold off a lot of sets to fund, you know, my habit this year. But next year, what effect is it going to have? It's really tough one, and only time will tell. So what do you guys think? I'm sure that it's already having an effect on lots of people's collecting well before now. I mean, I'm probably late to the party on what it's going to mean for me going forward. So I'd love to hear from you guys. And what do you think about all of these big sets? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Just everything you've got. Anything that you thought about while I was rambling on here, I'd love you to put it in the comments. Let's everyone jump in down below in the comments and have a bit of a discussion there, because I think this is a really interesting topic, and it's a topic that's not going away, because I can't see them having any changes at Lego. I think they're just going to keep pumping out these big sets. Prices are going to keep increasing, and it's going to put more and more pressure on us collectors, on us Lego lovers, and it's going to be a sad thing if they start really pushing a lot of people out of the hobby. And I mean, it's got to come to a head at some stage, doesn't it? So yeah, very, very interesting. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let's jump in. Let's keep this discussion going. If you did enjoy the video, and I've already asked you, give it a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. Lots of different content coming in the near future. So hit subscribe if you want to stay in touch down under. And yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.